Welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast, where two lifelong horror fans talk all things horror. Pour yourself your favorite drink and hang out. Here are your hosts, Josh and Jake.
Hey guys, welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
And on today's episode, we are going to be discussing
One of my personal favorites, 1982's The Thing, directed by John Carpenter.
Ooh, what was it? The warmest, what was it?
Man is the warmest place to hide.
Man is the warmest place to hide. I saw that. You know how I saw that?
How?
Remember a couple episodes ago we were talking about how I needed to watch the trailers for these older movies so I can get a different appreciation for some of these older ones that exist to see like what people expected versus what they got. I did. I watched it this time. I watched the movie.
That's what it said?
Start to finish. And then I was like, ooh, I remembered I'm going to put on the trailer on YouTube on my TV, watched it, and at the very end, that popped up on my screen. And I was like, don't forget that. And what do?
You forgot.
Forget it immediately. All right, before we get into this episode, what would we like to let anyone new to this podcast know?
As always, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Pretty please.
You also find us on Spotify.
We're on there.
We're on Apple.
We are.
And we're on Google.
Yep.
Also on Instagram. J Squared Horror Podcast. Link tree in the bio. New episodes every Thursday. That was good.
Yeah, that was one of our best. Every
was.
single Thursday, two lifelong horror fans decide to put out the most original horror podcast out there. With this podcast, we do something that we have yet to find anywhere on the internet or on streaming platforms. We insert ourselves into different movies. We do themed episodes. We cover anything and everything horror. We would like every single one of our fans, new or original, to chime in on any of our social media platforms.
Please.
He's already mentioned some of the things we're on, but I'd like to mention two other things that we're on. One of those things being www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. That is the easiest way to contact us. If you're interested in being on an episode, if you have an episode idea, if you just want to say, hey guys, you guys fucking suck, or you guys are great, let us know there. You can also find a link to paranormalitymagazine.com. And what that is an up-and-coming magazine about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. If you use code J2Horror, not only will you get 10% off, but you'll help us and you'll help them grow in our respective fields. You can also go on there and you can vote for us being the #1 paranormal podcast. We're not paranormal very much at all. We've finally been bumped off to the top 10. We need you guys to go to paranormalitymagazine.com. Vote us. Get us higher than we've ever been, which is only 8. But now we're not even on there. So if you guys could do that, that would be great. But I'm super excited to get into John motherfucking Carpenter's The Thing.
I am too. Before we start, though, we met someone from this movie.
We did. I think he was only in it as like a stunt double, correct?
He was the shadow in one of the
in the
scene where the dog goes in.
The dog goes in. It was good old Dick Warlock.
Yes, it was.
He's one of my favorite celebrities I've ever met.
Mine too.
Granted, I've only met a handful of them through these horror conventions that we like to go to. But the Dick Warlock, we almost had him on the podcast, but unfortunately, at that time, him and his wife were dealing with some COVID issues. Luckily, they're both okay. I might reach back out to them now that we're kind of grown. We have the equipment and the ability to have people on the podcast.
That'd be cool.
I might reach back out to him. But yeah, he's right. We've met somebody that was directly in this movie, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
John Carpenter's The Thing. I told you this, but I don't know if our fans know this. I had never seen this from start to finish. This was my first time putting on this movie and watching it in its completion. I had seen bits and pieces, probably like we have mentioned before, on like some Fear Fest or some AMC type thing.
Yeah.
But I had never, ever seen this. I know, I get it. I'm a horror podcast guy and I've never seen it. I'm sorry, but I sat down last night and I watched this. And I gotta say, man, I had watched the remake, of course, which is an absolute abomination of a film. Whether it's horror or not, it's bad.
Yeah, it's not very good.
It's so bad. But I sat and I watched this one because this is an episode. I think this is one of your all-time favorite horror, John Carpenter, just all the way. It wins so many categories for you.
It is. Yeah.
So obviously, I'm going to kind of lean heavily on you this episode because you're such a big fan of it, and I'm excited to kind of hear. I mean, you've probably seen. How many times do you think you've seen it? If you were to just roughly guess,
100 times maybe.
100 times,
Roughly, yeah. So I've seen this movie more than I've seen Jason Takes Manhattan.
Get the fuck out of here!
I
Have you
love
really?
that movie.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Thing has been one of those ones for like almost your whole life.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're both in our 30s, so we haven't had all of them. But
Yeah.
hey, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. I love this movie.
All right, so what's the main thing that just like separates this from most horror films for you? Like, what is the reason do you think that you would put this in your top of all time?
Well, three things. One, the acting.
Very good.
It's very good.
Very good. I agree with you 100%.
Kurt Russell kills it, in my opinion.
He kills it. He's the anchor.
He is.
Yes.
And the other actors,
They're all great.
do a great job as well.
Very good.
Two, I like the whole isolation aspect of it.
Being in Alaska.
Yeah.
Completely. Oh, no, not Alaska.
Antarctica.
I'm sorry. Antarctica.
Yeah.
Big difference.
But I love the fact that they're in one location. No one can reach them. They can't reach anybody. And also, that whole thing of you can't trust anyone.
Yeah, man.
So at every turn, you never know who really is the thing, who pretending to not be a thing, and that constant feeling of, I don't know.
It's just, it's like, it is a complete, it is a complete feeling of I don't know.
Yeah. It's
Like, that is it.
yeah,
That's
it's like,
the best way to
I don't
describe
know who
it.
to trust.
Yeah.
Who is it? How'd it happen?
How'd you watch it last night? Do you have it or do you watch it on streaming?
So I have it
Okay.
in a DVD
Yeah.
that's still in the
Like
package
cellophane wrapped.
and still sitting by the TV. It's been there for 2.5 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never take it out.
You didn't even open it for
'Cause
this
I've seen
episode.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I watch it on Tubi.
So it's free on Tubi.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if anybody hasn't seen this movie, obviously it's really fucking old, but spoilers for, it's an old movie. If you haven't seen it yet, pause us. Go watch it on Tubi. I rented it on Amazon because I didn't want the ads. But whichever way you want to do it, go watch it. I'm telling you right now, you are not going to regret it. This is one of the movies that has withstood the test of time for sure.
Definitely.
If you know anything about our podcast, that's something we mention quite a bit. Like, we definitely have been like, we thought it was good, 10, 15 years ago, but it didn't really hold. This one is unbelievable.
Yeah, it holds
good.
up. 40 years later, it holds up.
Go watch it on whatever streaming platform you want to, and then get back into this because I think he's going to bring a lot to it, and I get a nice little fresh intake of what I just witnessed last night. So you said it perfectly, man. This movie has so many great characteristics, but you kind of know it out the gate, especially with the isolation thing. So you're smarter when it comes to movies than me. When did Alien come out? Do you know off the top of your head? Was it pre or post this?
I think the original one may have been pre, maybe the sequel was post, I think.
So, alien shit has existed
Yeah.
in this capacity, right? But this movie, it's here.
Yeah.
We're not in outer space,
Yeah.
guys. We are on the planet Earth, and something is going on. And it starts off, and I was like, all right, so I know I love John Carpenter. You guys know I love John Carpenter.
Yeah.
One of my favorite horror movies of all time is Halloween by John Carpenter. Holy shit, is he good at what he does? And this movie proves it. This is quite the feat of a movie. And I mean that for multiple reasons. You mentioned acting, you mentioned isolation, you mentioned that cold, that feeling of unease and all that, right? I would say that this movie is the greatest use of practical effects that have ever existed in the history of mankind. Because of the time that it came out and what they did in that time period. It is a work of fucking art.
I agree with that because there are scenes in this movie to where it doesn't make sense to me how they did it back then.
Did you do this?
Yeah.
Without the existence of CGI?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that we have this movie to give a nice middle finger to all the people that say that you need CGI.
Yeah, because
This movie came out in the 80s.
Yeah,
And it is some of the best use of practical effects that will ever exist. If you watch that movie just for this reason alone, if you have an appreciation for cinema and what artists are able to do, this movie, The Thing, is a perfect example of that. It's the director in his prime. It's the effects that's in their prime. The actors that across the board all do a great job, whether it's big or small. The dog that's in this movie is a better actor than Jared Leto, who is still being used in movies today. That's insane to me. This movie is top tier.
it is.
There's action. There's aliens. There's blood. There's gook. There's isolation. You feel like you're in Antarctica.
Yeah. I think what I love is as soon as the movie starts,
Yeah.
you're right into it.
Yeah. It's the helicopter shooting at the dog, right?
Yeah. So they're Norwegian.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what they're saying?
The Swedes,
Yeah. He corrects me. Norwegians. I thought that was funny too.
Yeah,
He
I did
corrects
too.
me
I
immediately.
that part just gets me. It was good. I loved that. All right, so what were you saying? I'm sorry.
So as he's yelling and shooting, you know what he's saying to them?
No, I don't.
So I don't speak Norwegian, but I was like, gotta translate, watch something else. But he's saying to them, that's not a dog.
Oh, so they're warning them.
That's a thing pretending to be a dog. Get away from it, you idiots. But they just see someone
Shooting at a dog.
speaking a foreign language.
Yeah, in a
shooting at them.
helicopter, shooting at a dog.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is probably the worst sniper in the history of all sniping.
Yeah.
When I was watching this movie last night, my thought process was, I was like, is this the Dewey of Norwegian fight force? Because he's got a scope, he's in a helicopter, he's got the advantage, and he's just laying down lead and missing this
Yeah,
dog
every time.
And mind you, they're in Antarctica, so it's not like the dog can really hide.
Yeah.
It's a gray and black dog
Yeah.
against the whitest of snow. So it's not like it's hidden. And the helicopter pilot is getting him in perfect positions this entire time
Just
to
can't do it.
get this figured out. Yeah, it's intense. And I was like, oh man, there's like a lot of dog lovers out there. And like that, but yeah, it's not like a dog torture scene or anything.
Yeah.
They're just shooting at him. And that's interesting that that's what they're saying.
Yeah. So
You know,
if
'cause
anyone there
if-
could just speak Norwegian,
Could you speak Norwegian? This
you'd be
movie's
good.
done. Like
it's 10 minutes long. You're done.
Oh, it's not a dog? All right, we
Yeah.
got it.
We're done. All right. We'll see you.
Because obviously the security cop guy from this camp has a good shot because
Yeah.
he got the Norwegian. Yeah, so the Norwegians are kind of like, doing their Norwegian stuff.
Yeah. One blows himself up. They're,
Yeah.
they're not very organized.
They're not, especially
Well,
when you go
they're
back
in
to
a,
their
in
camp.
a panic, obviously. 'cause
They
chasing
know
this
what
thing.
they're chasing.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be cool, calm, and collect. Oh, man. And then you got Kurt Russell, man.
Yeah. So his character.
Is this his best role?
I don't think it's his best role. Probably one of his more well-known roles.
Okay.
He was good in Tombstone. Was he really in Tombstone?
I don't know.
Okay. I think
Let me look it up for you.
No, I don't. I just think he's in Tombstone.
He might be.
But
He's in the Hateful Eight.
he is. Which
I was going to bring something up about that.
Go ahead, say
Were
it.
you going to?
no, go ahead.
All right. So I was wondering, I was going to ask you, right? So do you think that Quentin Tarantino paid homage to The Thing in Hateful Eight and The Thing?
Yeah.
Because there are scenes in The Thing
Uh-huh.
where they're using like ropes, they're in the snow, it's
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, and that's what they do in Hateful Eight. They have to use
Yeah.
ropes, they have to do that.
It's not
You don't
only-
know who is who.
Not only that, so they used like some of the soundtrack they didn't use in the thing in the Hateful Eight.
Holy shit, no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
That's crazy cool.
So it all ties together.
Yeah, I was watching it and I was like, get the fuck out. Like,
Yeah.
I obviously love Quentin Tarantino
Yeah.
a
When you
lot.
first see it, you're like,
I
huh.
was like, why does this seem so
This looks
familiar?
familiar.
And then I was like, it's kind of crazy because the Hateful Eight is you don't know who's who.
Yeah.
So it's kind of still playing
Yeah,
on
yeah.
like,
It's
who
crazy.
can you trust? Because Quentin Tarantino is that kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's cool that he paid homage to the great John Carpenter and one of his best movies. I got to say,
Yeah.
I got to say it now. One
This
of his
is-
best movies,
I agree, it is.
The Thing.
But the character of McCready, I wasn't a fan.
No, the character himself, he's not the best. He's not the smartest. He's not the brightest.
Yeah, I don't like how they put him in charge. Also, he's
What?
quick to just assume.
He's everybody's the worst.
Yeah,
You know, and
everyone.
it's also like, isn't he like the drunk guy in the tower? Like, how is he? How is he getting a say on any of this? Like the doctor, the sheriff guy, the fucking radio guy,
Nah,
the
fuck
cook.
y'all.
I would trust the dog over me trusting Kurt Russell. You know, McCready, right? And you know, and it's the cool thing about this movie is you as the watcher of this movie aren't exactly obviously like. Excuse me. He's done research and figured out what the Norwegians were saying, but you're watching this movie, you don't know.
Yeah.
So you're just like, why maybe Norwegians don't fuck with dogs? They think it's a wolf, like these evil sons of bitches. So you're like, yeah, save the dog. And there's like this bigger white character that like immediately is like super protective over the dog. I think like his role is to like love dogs.
Like
and I'm
handle all the dogs.
I love dogs, like, you know, pretty much anybody else. But, you know, I would kind of question the fact that this dog was just getting shot at by a helicopter. I might not give it the benefit of the doubt. I might keep them separate until I figure out what the hell's going on.
Embrace it and love it and let it, and
Just
that's
walk around.
which I think from the Thing's mind is the best way to get in there. A dog,
It's you.
man's best friend.
If you figure out as an alien thing
Yeah,
that, you know, what humans will let, it's going to be a
Yeah.
dog.
it's just roaming around doing
Just
whatever.
walking around.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, that dog actor should have gotten a puppy Oscar. It was good. It was good, man.
it's just roaming
Like,
around.
it just kind of stands there and stares off sometimes. I'm like, how is this dog so good at acting?
It's just doing his
I've
thing.
seen humans so much worse at acting, especially in the horror world.
Yeah, that's very true.
So yeah, you have this dog character. He's his own character. And then you're kind of seeing the dynamic of this camp, this installation in Antarctica. So there's a radio guy by the name of
Windows.
Windows.
It's Windows and Mac. That's pretty funny too.
Oh shit! I didn't even pick up on that. That's
Yeah.
funny. He's like everybody keeps yelling at him.
The entire movie.
Like he's just trying to do. He's like, we are in Antarctica. Talking to people isn't he? Like, we need to let people know what's going on here. He's like, you fucking think so?
Yeah, I've been trying for 2 weeks.
I've been trying for 2. Just because something else changed doesn't mean somebody else is going to answer
Exactly.
quicker. I loved his character. He's one of my favorite characters
he's
in this
good.
whole movie. You have the cop guy. I don't even know what the fuck he was. That shot the Norwegian.
Gary.
Yeah, what was he? Was he a sheriff guy? Like
I don't know.
like an armed guard?
I don't know.
It seemed like it. He was the only
It
one with
did
an
seem
actual
like-
gun.
Yeah.
And then you find out later on in the movie that there's like a thing of guns,
Yeah.
or like a safe of guns, but he's the only one that had one. Except I thought it was funny because when their Norwegians are attacking, like you said, one blew himself up, like the helicopter and stuff. Like his thought process of getting him is like completely ruined the element of surprise. He breaks out the window
With the
just
gun.
the loudest way possible with the gun. Just and I was like, a bullet can fly through glass, right? And it's not really going to
I don't
change.
wanna risk it.
He's not really going to change the trajectory of this bullet. It's traveling a lot faster and quicker than that glass is going to deter it. But I would have shot one through the glass instead of doing the fucking, the glass cleaning thing. But
Or
once
just
again,
open the window.
it is Antarctica. Maybe those windows don't open.
You never know.
I mean, I wouldn't imagine I'd want opening windows
I mean,
when
you,
it's
you turn the heat on.
30
Might
below.
Get a little hot in there. Need a little crack it a little bit.
It's
Get a
cold,
little
man. I don't
cold
like
air.
the cold at all. I would have died just from like before the thing even happened because I can't stand the cold. And I don't trust nobody in the cold. Everybody's a question. So I would have not have made it very far in this movie. That's for damn sure. And it's the thing that I like about movies like this. Isolation movies are cool
They are.
because you only have so many characters to deal with.
That's why I love too.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about backstory, side stories, this person, that person.
Doesn't matter.
What's happening here is happening here. You don't need to know who the fuck's who.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about The Thing is it is a movie about trusting or not trusting people. And you don't need to know what makes them trustworthy or untrustworthy because we're now dealing with an alien life form.
Yeah. And I love that it turns so quick. Like,
Yeah.
It seems like the first thing happens, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
And you see McCready and Childs from the jump don't really like each other.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about, but
Yeah.
they don't. But
From the very start.
They, you know,
Like, yeah, I don't like you.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
So-
So Charles is kind of a hothead.
McCready, though, he flies the helicopter to the Norwegian
Yeah.
base. That's like the first thing that gets everything going.
Yeah.
And he's like, I shouldn't. There could be a whiteout. And I'm like, I would trust. I guess he's a pilot. That's
Yeah.
his gig.
But the doc says to him, if you don't think it's a good idea, we won't go.
He's like, no, we got this.
All right,
He's
then
already
let's-
taken a
let-
couple
let's just
swigs
go
out
there.
of the whiskey bottle.
Yeah. All right, let's go,
Fuck it,
guys.
let's hop in a helicopter and do the damn thing. So they fly over there and they realize that, like, I don't know why they didn't question more over there. That's the one question I had.
What do you mean?
There's like fucking holes in the building. There's frozen people with like half sawed off heads and cut wrists. I'm like, dude, you're not going to be like, this seems kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But like, let's still trust that dog. That
Yeah.
that these people who didn't kill
The
themselves,
dog came from.
it came from here. This guy chopped his fucking own head off.
Yeah.
And slit his own. I did like the fact that like the blood was frozen.
Yeah, that was good.
From the
That was
wrist,
good,
and
yeah.
I was like, this movie is from the 80s,
Yeah,
man.
it looked good.
And then they see like there's this crazy like ice cutout thing. Wait, McCready finds
Yeah.
He's
Which
like,
they
yo.
knew was from the thing, or they later find the little.
something is
Yeah.
going on here,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
They thought, maybe this was here,
And now
and what was here is now gone. Could it be that dog?
could it maybe possibly be the dog that
Let's-
we let
let's-
into
let's-
our base?
Then you see the fucking two people morphed into one thing.
Did they grab it?
Why would you do
Not
that?
in a million years.
It was so hot when they got it back.
Yeah, that's what I that's what I was wondering. Is
Yeah.
it's like this whole time, this movie, like everything's frozen the fuck
Yeah.
over because it's 30 below in Antarctica.
They're outside for 10 seconds. His beard is like covered.
Yeah,
in
it's
ice and
covered
stuff.
in frost. Every time he goes outside, he's just frost beard.
Yeah. I
But
think it
this
was
thing
1,000
is
degrees.
still smoldering hot, and you're able to safely transport this thing in a
Yeah.
helicopter.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make any sense. And then I was thinking, like, when they get it over to the American base, like, did it just dethaw? But it was like hot.
It's like a lot of steam
It was,
coming off.
it was like steam. Maybe the hot got frozen into the.
Can you imagine
Oh, my
that
God.
ride back with that thing back there with you?
No,
I would even.
dude.
I wouldn't take my eyes off of it.
No, I wouldn't put it in the fucking helicopter. First of all, I would have been like, okay, we got to remember where this is because it's obviously not going to go
We have
anywhere.
to come back to it.
Let's go back once we know we got some people.
Yeah,
we
bring
can
them
figure out
with
what's
us.
going on.
Yeah.
You know the people that are going to come rescue us once springtime happens, the thaw happens. We'll come figure it
Yeah.
out then. But putting a melted up double faced thing
Yeah.
in my helicopter
I'm not
that I'm
doing
going to have to fly back to base and then transport it into the doctor. I'm not that. But then again, they're scientists. They think differently than me and you.
True, but
So
the
they
two-
want to know
but I
what's
think
going on.
the ones that went to go get it were not scientists.
But they have scientists, and they work
Okay,
around
but-
people
well,
that need to figure shit out, I guess.
You guys come and get it.
I agree with you. I'm just saying what their thought process might have been.
Yeah, it could have been, yeah.
That's it. That I give them that little bit of a benefit of a
But when they
doubt.
get it back, they start like digging into
Digging
it.
into it. And it's, once again, the fucking practical effects of this
Yeah.
movie. It looks like a motherfucking double face.
Yeah, it looks like two people morphing
Oh
into
my
one.
God, it's
Which when you
crazy.
watch the sequel, you see how it happened.
The
Or,
sequel,
or the prequel, I'm sorry.
prequel.
Yeah,
What's the prequel?
2011, the thing.
No, we don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
We don't talk about that atrocity
The movie that didn't happen.
of a fucking movie. That's a prequel? So it's not even a sequel?
Yeah, which, because real quick, that movie ends how this one begins.
Damn.
Yeah,
I'm happy I didn't pick up on that watching this.
Yeah.
It would have ruined this movie for me.
yeah.
No, it's bad. It is very bad.
It
But
is
how
bad.
that doesn't make sense because they're in the future
So I guess they were in 1982, like a day before, I guess.
with a female. I mean, no offense, but this is the 80s. I don't think there were females in
Yeah.
Antarctica then.
Which is why they check her when she has the video. So that makes sense.
It totally makes sense now. Yeah. So they get this thing, back
There you go.
to their camp, and the doctor's like, "Yo, this is crazy. I don't really. All the organs are in the right place. Are we talking about the organs for one person or two people here? is
Who
the
knows?
question I had. He's just grabbing shit out of the body.
Yeah, well, dude, stop reaching in there so much.
Gross.
He's reaching in, pulling stuff out.
And it all looks like legit. I mean, I don't know what kidneys, livers, and lungs and hearts look like.
And it's all super wet.
It's all just gushy, yeah.
And hot.
just the grossest. And once again, practical, man. That's the thing that I like about it, is it looks like I would imagine this process would look like. It's gross.
So I think
so gross.
It's disgusting. I would never reach in there. But anyway.
Well, we're not doctors or scientists, so.
Sure, which is probably a good thing.
Very good. Yeah, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good. Wouldn't call somebody else.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah. But when the dogs start, so.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Go ahead. Get into the dog shit.
So the dogs started doing their thing. And so that always confused me. It's one dog.
The dog is one dog.
But it gets in there. And it's like, I don't know if it was multiple dogs in there and it got a few first, but that thing is huge in there.
I mean,
and it gets these arms that reach out and grab. Like, that's not just a dog,
dude. It's the alien. It's the thing, right?
But this one dog, it was kind of already doing something too. And one dog, the tentacles just like shoot out and wrap around his neck real quick.
Yeah, that dog must have talked a lot of shit. Yeah, because that dog got yoked out real quick.
And then dude Clark, who was the dog handler,
he handled that situation horribly.
When they had to, unfortunately, shoot that dog.
It wasn't
the one that got wrapped around.
You got to do what you got to do.
He had a fucking meltdown.
He's a dog guy.
I get it, but
also there's an alien choking it.
You gotta run here and save him or something?
No, the funny thing is they do just light that whole cage up.
Yeah, but you have to.
You have to.
Yeah, shoot.
You're not going to open it up to find out if that thing's going to get you or not.
Clark, go in.
Yeah, is that sad? Go. Let's see what it does to humans.
And shut it behind.
If they would have done that, they would have figured everything out right then.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You're just making a dog and a human.
All right,
we gotta kill this thing.
6 dogs, 2 Clarks, or a new Clark. We're good.
Yeah, 18 dogs, 4 Clarks. What the fuck is going on here? But it's crazy because when it goes alien mode, it still has some remnants of what it's trying to become.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Because you can see how quick it could do it. It doesn't take this thing very long to become what it wants to be.
20 minutes, maybe, if that.
If that, then that's like a super stretch. But
yeah, probably 5 minutes.
It might be 5. Yeah, I'm thinking sub 10 for sure because of especially when it comes to the human stuff later, it can happen pretty quickly. Yeah. But also, I think it matters because even then, you catch it and it might not be completely finished yet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
I think it's funny.
The dog thing was crazy because, like you said, it's I don't remember the dog count exactly, but this dog looks fucking massive compared to these dogs. It's like a wolf versus dogs.
Yeah,
and I just ironically saw a picture of an actual wolf versus a Siberian husky, and they're fucking huge compared to them. But anyway, that's the kind of vibe this alien dog gives you, and it lays down very well. But then, like you said, tentacles come out, and a bunch of dogs start freaking out, and it's did those dogs come in contact with this dog earlier in the movie? That's what we don't know, but whatever, because you find out not everybody's who they say they are, and they've come into contact with the dog.
The thought of anything having tentacles,
it's terrifying, especially for you,
and it shooting out at anything.
Yeah. So this movie actually scares you.
We're gonna figure out how to get someone on the fucking radio.
This scares you. This movie scares you.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like octopi because of their tentacles.
No, but imagine the thing. Oh.
Yeah, just. I like when they freak out.
Yeah, they're going so. It's going so fast.
They go
yeah. You're all right, relax. All right.
Oh, I would definitely be Kurt Russell with a fucking flamethrower at all times. Well,
they try shooting it first.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really works against this fucking thing is flames.
Yeah.
Which you realized when the thing was melted. That's probably the way we should be dealing with this thing.
Thing you roll back with a helicopter?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
That didn't do anything to the 2 people in the helicopter? All right, cool. Plot hole. No, I wouldn't even consider it a plot hole. It might have still been cold. I don't know how this thing works exactly. Nobody does. That's the great thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't waste a bunch of time explaining everything that fucking happens in this movie.
So until the doctor figures out, hey, this thing can assimilate and become something else.
Yeah.
And he's doing his little math.
Yeah, he's looking at the computer screen, and it's like dog cell, unknown cell. This is
okay.
All right, and that explains it.
This is perfect science.
Perfect science. Also, Kurt Russell was playing chess on a computer in the 80s. what the fuck?
They know
He gets beat by it and he just dumps his
Yeah.
drink into the fucking
anger
computer.
problems.
I love it, but that's super early.
They
On. I
told
just
him-
thought it was funny.
27,000 hours until it could take over the entire world population.
They figured that equation out.
In that little computer, which is about 3 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, it took a little while to kind of figure out what was going on in this base, so that kind of makes sense. See, we're talking about 8 guys here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they figure it out.
Then,
He immediately trusts no one.
Yeah, you get into the don't trust anyone thing. And I was wondering, like, all right, like, do you think, like, the blood test? So did we ever conclude if the blood test worked or not?
It did work.
Okay, it does work. Okay.
Yeah, it does work. But I feel like, so. the
Oh, that's right, because the fucking thing's like, brah.
Yeah. So.
How did that guy get got? He was my favorite, the punk rock vest guy.
Palmer? Yeah, he was
Yeah,
good.
Palmer.
So,
Yeah, Palmer, because that's the guy that I work with. That's his name.
so what my thought process is,
When did he get got?
so the dog got Norris.
Yeah, I think so too. Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
And he could just hide it,
100%. Yeah.
I guess, for maybe it takes some time. Who knows?
Might depend on the person, maybe.
Or maybe how long. They're smart, so they know when to, I guess, show themselves.
Yeah, the alien,
Yeah.
the thing. Yeah.
So when they separate, Norris attacks Palmer. When they split up.
Oh.
When Palmer's like, when McCready says go with Windows, and Palmer's like, no, I'm not going with Windows.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
He knew that Windows might have.
he goes with Norris.
Who would you
Okay.
trust?
I would trust probably Windows.
Windows is the most trustworthy guy on
Yeah.
the team.
Because he seems the most
Scared.
scared and the most, I want to protect myself.
Yeah. And that's the thing that you realize throughout this movie is like, like my test would have been fire. It doesn't fuck with fire.
Yeah.
So like whoever's carrying that fucking torch, more than likely isn't a fucking alien. Because
Yeah.
at no point in this movie did anybody that was carrying the torch,
Yeah.
they weren't an alien.
No one wants it to go off on themselves.
Exactly. So that alien's going to protect. And they said like, ultimately this thing's only going to protect itself.
Yeah. So with that, so that whole scene where they're doing the test,
The blood test.
Yeah.
It was the Petri dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's such a good scene.
Yeah. Also, like, bro, I don't like boo-boos
Okay.
at all. Why y'all got to cut the thumb so deep, bro?
Yeah, they were like really
They were really getting in
Getting
there
into
with
it, yeah.
these cuts.
They were.
I guess you needed a good amount of blood for the test.
Yeah.
But also, like, you couldn't have just used matches. We had to use this fucking heated up electrical cord.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what? Yeah, it was a process.
Like, that was just, it was like, it was building tension. That's for sure.
But with that particular scene, I heard somewhere they said that the way to know who wasn't a thing, if they had reflection in their eyes.
I didn't even look.
Yeah. So when the scene first starts, Palmer has reflection in his eyes. But once they get to when they're right before they're about to do his test, he's looking down, his eyes are dark.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
so something happened
and he, like-
almost like in between.
As they're about to do it, he like smirks. And then when they
shit.
hit it, he starts reacting immediately. Because now I can't pretend anymore.
And it jumps out of the Petri dish, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess
So this thing's like a microorganism
Yeah.
that can grow very
it
significantly.
can
in alien
grow,
form.
it can think on its own.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, it is still it has a brain still, a human
Yeah,
brain.
and it's also keeping itself low key. Like you
Yeah.
have to think to do that.
Yeah, and the fact that it can just sit there all this time while it's doing the test and not immediately
Not freak
react.
out and like try to kill anybody in that process. Like,
Yeah.
yeah that's kind of wild.
Yeah. So I feel like, dog got Norris got him. The doctor out in the outhouse or whatever,
When did he get got?
I think early on,
Like super early on,
super early.
before he freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the guy's name that had the hands? Is that Norris?
No, that was,
'Cause he was like second,
yeah. Like Nettle or Neil, something like that.
something like that.
Yeah.
He's all handed and it makes the fucking
Yeah. Because I guess, okay. My thought process was, it knows it needs to get away.
Yeah,
It can't-
yeah.
it can't survive
It needs
here.
to get out of that situation.
But he
Yeah.
probably knew Windows would probably be back with more people, so I got to get out before they get here.
Yeah.
It wasn't done doing this thing.
Yeah,
Because if it was, it could have just got us shit and left.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That the thing that's scary is, do you think we kind of always we say at the beginning of the episode we insert ourselves into different movies and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're smart enough to get to the points that they did, but hey, fuck it. Let's say we are. How hard do you know? It's kind of like, it's not quite like the zombie analogy or the vampire analogy, but like it's still got to be kind of tough, right?
I feel like once you figure out,
I guess once you figure out who's who,
something with the blood,
yeah.
well, you would think, okay, well, if it can turn into something in his blood,
But why would you let? Why would you as the alien let them take your blood
to blend in?
To still blend in and hope that,
and just hope that maybe, which only happened to them, McCready's flamethrower won't work.
Yeah.
Which is fucking jams. He's wasting it doing the fucking coil thing the whole time.
The whole fucking time, yeah. Waste all his juice on the fucking.
Which makes sense why this whole what he needs to do.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
But you got to think, well, maybe I can just outsmart them. And if I can
outlast and outsmart, I guess you're right. That's ultimate survival 101.
If I can separate myself for a long period of time, I can get away. So when they had this other science doctor out of the way in the outhouse, he was able to dig a hole down.
Yeah, he was doing his own fucking thing over there.
Ship together. Yeah. If they had never thought about him, he probably would have left.
Yeah,
just been going.
And what's crazy is we didn't mention this yet, but they do go to an alien ship, like a big one.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And that's probably the most fake looking shit in this movie.
100% of this.
1,000. Also, in the very beginning of this movie,
when it comes in,
when it like the actual like the title card part is probably like one of my favorite from the 80s.
Yeah,
like just the way the thing like the title pops up on the screen is really fucking cool. But then it immediately follows up with this wonky like fucking fake alien ship flying towards Earth, which is neither here nor there. But the alien ship shit does look the fakest. Which for a movie like this, we're talking 80s. Early 80s, probably late 70s, and when they're actually doing it. It's very impressive because, we're now looking at it fucking 40 plus years later. Like, we can definitely be like, oh, that looks lame. But I'm sure back then it looked fucking great.
Yeah. I think something also cool, though, think about the whole John Carpenter thing.
Yeah.
Is they're watching the original The Thing in Halloween.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, they are. He does. That is cool. Yeah. I do like that they add, like, paid homages to yourself, you cocky son of a bitch.
That's how them. I think it's like The Thing from Outer Space or something like that. Yeah, and that's how it starts too. He just took the Thing part and redid that for the intro.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool too.
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is one of the best. So you're getting this, who's who, who's not, and it doesn't always make sense, which is fine. Like, well, just a matter of like you're kind of just as confused as everybody else. Like I've been asking him this whole time. He's seen it like 1,000 times. I've seen it once. Like, how do you know? Like, when do you think this person became the alien thing, right? Which could have been at any time. They separate a lot.
Which is dumb.
And there's a lot of scenes where like McCready and one other guy will go off in the ropes in the snow, and then he like cut it, and then that's how he comes back. And like there's a whole process of like McCready trying to prove that he's not one, while everybody else is trying to prove that they're not one. That dynamic keeps this movie very entertaining. It's never overdone and it's never overused, which is surprising, especially for a movie that came out 40 years ago.
Yeah.
There are things about this movie that people need to watch and study to make current movies. I don't know how to explain it, but there's a feeling that you get during this entire film where you do not know what the fuck is going on, but you're never lost. That's art. Like, that is amazing.
Yeah. So, speaking of art and, like, the visual and special effects, probably the most well-known scene is when Norris dies of a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they take him in there, hit him with the defib.
Yeah.
And his stomach fucking
opens up. Yeah.
That whole scene, and when his stomach opens up and he's, like, shaking, is shooting out of his stomach. And the
bites his fucking hands off.
And the other, like, Yeah. Which I saw.
That's an iconic scene.
Yeah, which I saw they used one who actually didn't have any arm and just made a mask of that actor.
Oh, shit.
Put it on his face. Yeah.
That's crazy. Once again, genius.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really good.
Yeah. But when the Norris, I guess, thing is shooting out of him, it already has his face.
His face.
But Norris, the physical form of Norris is already dead.
Yes.
In a heart attack. He's gone.
He died.
So I guess if they didn't find him,
he would have been an alien.
It'll be another nurses walking around.
Yeah,
You'll never know.
Never figured that one out.
And the whole head tearing off and it being
it having like it reminded me, for anybody that's seen the new It.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Which
an
is
easy ripoff of this.
Yeah, because he almost says the exact same line Palmer says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's funny because they like turn, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's so good.
And it's crazy because like you're watching all of this go down and you got flamethrowers, you got action sequences, and even then there's this feeling of just like, we know it's not over.
Yeah.
No matter how much you feel like you're catching this thing and you're on top of it, you still know that person that you just tried to save was the thing prior to you trying to save it, and you had no clue.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by art and movie, and like pay attention to what they did back then, because you don't know. I mean, obviously people that have seen it before, like,
Yeah.
I didn't know. This movie is 40 years old, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me how this legitimately withstands the test of time.
Yeah, it really does.
It's crazy because we were talking about, we talked about going to Texas Frightmare again this year, and we knew John Carpenter was going, and I was like, what would you get? Like, what would you bring? You're like, the Thing poster, and I was like, oh, I'd bring Halloween. And it's like, I sit here and I think about it, but like, mano y mano, movie versus movie, like, what is actually more iconic? And like, what is actually more of a feat of cinema?
Yeah.
You have to give the nod to The Thing. I like Halloween better.
Yeah.
For personal reasons.
I mean, obviously, him doing Halloween allowed him to do The Thing.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
But movie versus movie.
Movie
this
versus
is a
movie.
superior movie.
This, across all platforms, this movie is superior.
Which is crazy.
To anything
Okay.
that came out almost ever, but of course in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which is an iconic year of horror.
That movie didn't do well.
I was going to ask.
People were saying it was literally disgusting.
It is disgusting.
They said it was like porn.
Like, what'd you call it that one time?
Horror porn?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
It was.
But you gotta think, man, this is 1982?
But they were like really just ragging on this movie.
82?
Yeah, you too. So.
Yeah, this movie's way ahead of its time.
So that movie, Firestarter, that they remade not too long ago.
Oh, with the superhero kid that's evil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original with Drew Barrymore, he was supposed to direct that. But the Thing did so bad, they said, no, get somebody else.
That's insane. John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Who, if you did a Mount Rushmore of horror directors,
Yeah.
is the first face on that fucking thing.
And there's none. It was some 1930s remake movie he wanted to do, and they were like,
No, I'm not saying John Carpenter doesn't have any misses. I'm not saying
he does, but The Thing is not one of them.
The Thing is not one of them. The Thing should be studied and appreciated for all time as one of the best movies in cinema.
I agree.
Whether it's aliens, whether it's 80s, or whether it's horror. It is its own entity in the cinema, not even just horror. It is something that I didn't even know and have an appreciation for. Like, after this, I'm going to go buy Thing shits.
Torture porn, there it goes.
Torture porn, thank God. I knew it wasn't horror porn, but I knew it was something. Yeah. But I'm going to go get Thing t-shirts. I'm going to go get Thing fucking toys. I have nothing Thing related in my collection. Like, if I could find a fucking replica of the head spider thing, I'm going to get it, bro.
So I saw a meme, and it was John Carpenter after releasing The Thing 1982, and it's from Back to the Future.
Oh, Back to the Future, your kids.
I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet. Another one. But your
kids will be, you're going to love it, yeah.
I forget what this movie is.
I mean, that would explain it. I mean, we mentioned it earlier, I'm dead serious. Go watch this fucking movie. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
So they said when it came out on VHS, it became popular immediately.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
That, had to get released at home so you could watch it.
Well, another thing, it also came out 2 weeks after E.T. did.
So you got this family-friendly fucking E.T. phone home, and then this fucking fucking.
And people are like, no.
That's wild, man.
It is.
So, this, you get to the point where, like he said, the doctor dug himself through, and you're now underneath Antarctica right now, or like in the ground. There's a part, I guess there's a bigger alien thing down there. There's like tremors all of a sudden. This is before Tremors.
So that's him, the doctor.
Oh,
Son, whoever. That's why I think he was early on.
He got 2 people and then did all that.
Yeah. So what's crazy is why
he was the main alien.
When that main thing pops out, it has half of his face.
Yeah, you're right.
And a dog comes out.
He was
so it had to been early on,
right at the beginning.
They got him. Yeah, they got him super quick, and he
was able to stay under the radar.
Yeah, so
for the most part, other than snapping.
Maybe that was on purpose to get isolated.
Damn, that's a good point.
Yeah. So you work on his ship.
Yeah. Damn, you're good.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
You've watched this movie 8,000 times.
They're not gonna come check on me or anything. So
no, they're like, and when they did, he was like, "Let me out," and they're like, "No."
Yeah, I think it's funny when they go. He has the noose hanging in there.
Where's Fuchs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was the guy's name, I think.
Fuchs with the other glasses, who burned himself.
Shit!
Who I guess came across the thing and said, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
No chance.
That would be me. Yeah. I would be Fuchs in this situation.
Scram, get out of here. Yeah. So the very end, when there's Childs and McCready left.
Yeah.
This is a huge thing, but do you think they're both human or one's a thing?
Both are human.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000%. Because at no point did I think either one. I believe Child's story.
How do you tell?
Why he was where he was.
It was dark.
Also, because McCready also was always questioning every fucking person.
Yeah.
So I think that was the status quo of him being like,
especially
even if we both are, we ain't doing shit about it right now.
Yeah.
And I think that if it was an alien, it would have been like, bet.
Yeah.
And then fucking gotten him.
Because people.
I really do.
I agree. People would say, well, McCready.
He gave up.
He has a lot of like smoke coming out of his mouth. Childs has none.
I just think that was bad cinematography.
I do as well.
Really.
Or the fact that
the only person that had that throughout the entire movie was McCready.
Maybe it's the beer. All the drinking. Who knows?
All the drinking is hot breath with the whiskey, you know?
Then they say, well, they mentioned it earlier in the movie, do not share drinks or food with anybody.
Yeah.
McCready offered him the drink. He takes it immediately.
Well, they were both beyond all rules at that
then
point.
McCready, like, smirks like, I know it's a thing. But Child's probably like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm going to take a swig, dude. Yeah. I've had a rough fucking night.
I've had enough. This is enough of you.
Yeah. All right? And he's a very well-known actor now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is cool that, like, two of the bigger actors that existed were the two that survived this movie, kind of ironically.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that the other ones, I might not have known what they were doing.
Well, one is Walter Brimley, the diabetes guy.
Get the fuck out of here, the diabetes.
Yeah.
Which one is he? That's awesome.
He's the one who gets put in the outhouse.
He's the doctor?
Yeah.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have sent me that because of the amount of little Debbie snacks I eat.
Wilford Brimley is his name. And, Keith David plays Childs.
Okay.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor. Yeah. He's a very good actor. I'm sure he's been at conventions and I've just walked right past him.
I think
probably. Yeah. All right, man. I'm very excited. That's pretty much the movie, guys. It ends title card once they are sitting together and you don't know what happens, which is a perfect way to end this movie because it's called The Thing, and that's been the whole thing about The Thing.
Yeah.
But I've been wondering for almost a week now, on a scale from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Where do you, Mr. Divine, put The Thing from 1982?
On a scale from 1 to 10. Now, I did say earlier, I would never give another movie a 10.
Yeah.
Besides Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
This movie's a 10.
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
It's perfect.
This is a perfect movie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Across the board.
This is a 10.
Nothing can beat it.
No.
Not even Jason Takes Manhattan.
No.
They're equals.
They're equals.
Wow.
Now, this is from this is a quality movie standpoint versus just a personal
just what
favorite.
you like, yeah.
As far as actual movies goes, this is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Nice. I'm happy you gave it that.
What about you?
On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm a big John Carpenter fan.
You are.
I'm a big Alien fan.
Okay.
I love Alien movies, especially E.T., knowing that it came out right around the same time.
2 weeks after.
I fucking hate E.T., honestly. Spielberg versus Carpenter. Carpenter gets the fucking dub here, boys. I'm going 9.5. I am.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. This movie knocked my fucking socks off, man. And being that it's as old as it is, and I was utterly dumbfounded by how good it was across the board. Like, there's so many things that you guys have probably picked up over time that I just fucking nitpick, especially when it comes to this fucker. Like Jake, I love picking on. It's part of our dynamic. It's part of our duo-ship. part of our friendship, honestly, is kind of just fucking around and being homies. But this movie's good. It's very good. And I hope as many of our fans that love us will go watch this before they get into this episode to get everything out of it that I feel like we brought to it this week.
Yeah.
Because this is probably this is one of the best movies I've ever covered on this podcast.
I agree.
Like, across the board. Our content was top tier, but also the movie was top tier.
Yeah,
I think top tier movies will bring out top tier content, but sometimes bottom ones do too. But I had a lot of fucking fun talking about this one, man. I appreciate. We've kind of gone back and forth a couple of times, and I feel like this moment in time for us was the moment to release this episode.
All right.
I'm so fucking stoked we did it.
Me too.
Because I was able to sit, enjoy it, not question anything about it, and really just embrace everything about John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. And as your friend and as your podcast host and buddy, and like, I always like deep down, I was always like, he gives a lot of fucking credit to The Thing, man. And like, I know like there's some fire and aliens and shit. This is legitimate art.
Yeah.
And its finest. And if you don't have an appreciation for The Thing, you don't know cinema. I'm saying that right now. Like, come at me, motherfucker. Like, try me. There's nothing wrong with this movie. I mean, yeah, there's probably a couple little things, but remember the time and remember what they were dealing with. And they still did this.
Yeah.
It's insanity. So thank you for
Cool.
choosing this movie this week.
No
I
problem.
appreciate that. Other thank yous, of course. I would like to say thank you to Jeff Balance, who does our design work. Lucky Riggs, who does our intro and our outro music. Trademark, my Alexa's just randomly going off. Trademark Printing, who does our printing needs. Big shout out to all of our fans who listen every single week. Comment along. Let us know what you guys think of every episode. Please, please, please. www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. Somewhere you can let us know what you think. Instagram, J Squared Horror Podcast. We're on all the things that he mentioned at the beginning of the episode. We have no idea what we're covering next week, but as a fan, you already knew that. But I did have a lot of fun, so obviously a big shout out to Jake for being the world's greatest co-host that I could ask for.
Thank you.
This is a great movie. I respect your fandom of this movie 1,000%. So that's it. This is the J Squared Horror Podcast. My name's Josh.
And I'm Jake.
You guys have a great week. And remember, it's hip to be squared.